Meet Ange, the founder of Yogi Labs, which is an app that she's developing to help people to feel more present and feel better about themselves. Ange is currently pre-revenue and wants to hit £4,000 a month by the end of 2025. So in this video, we're going to be breaking down exactly what weaknesses she has in her current business and how she can build on her strengths to allow her to hit this financial goal. Today we've got Adnan, one of our coaches, that's taken the session with Ange, and he's basically probing, asking questions so we can get a better understanding of exactly what's going on in the business, and then I'm going to be doing a little bit of analysis and some more feedback on what Ange needs to do moving forward.
What do you see as a vision for yourself in the future? What are you doing in 10 years' time, let's say? It can be longer, it can be shorter as well. I know 10 years is just is arbitrary, but yeah, in the future.
I'd like to run it from the top.
Okay.
But so not do like the day-to-day nitty-gritty. I'd like to be at the top, being like making the bigger decisions that affect the business.
So immediately, I just come up with something interesting here of like, she wants to be someone that's actually managing the business. A lot of the time with product and especially tech-based businesses, one of the things I see, and I've worked with entrepreneurs doing like 20K a month that are tech-based, like the thing that they often find is that because they build the app themselves, they end up being really involved in like actually developing and fixing and building the code. Because they know it so well, because they're the ones that actually get it, it's so hard to hand that off to people sometimes. So one of the immediate things that I'd be thinking with Ange is that, okay, what does the path of progression look like for you in terms of like handing off this code? How are you going to make sure that the way that you build the code is a way that other people can actually understand it and start to like actually build on it when necessary? Okay, so immediately I would be asking questions about the systems and processes that she's putting in place in terms of developing the code.
I do remember you mentioning that you kind of have a serial entrepreneur attitude. Like you might want to start a new thing and then build that thing and then let Yogi Lab run its course or sell it.
Yeah.
And then move on to the next thing, basically, right?
It could very easily turn into a SaaS.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
She just said here that she wants to turn it into a SaaS. Now, I love SaaS. And I've got one client that is literally creating a portfolio of different SaaS companies. I know how much work they can actually be. However, I also know how profitable they can be from a running point of view. Like if you can actually get these SaaSes running, up and running, like get good engagement and actually have customers that stay with you for a long period of time, like SaaSes are incredible, right? But they're very, very difficult to make. It takes a hell of a lot of development. It takes a lot of upfront costs. That's why a lot of them rely on investment. It's really hard to kind of get it up and running because you have to invest so much time typically to like get the product to a functional point of view. And then after that point, then you can actually start to launch it and get some money from it. So interesting that she's potentially looking down the SaaS route. Typically, my advice is for a business that's early stage, you want to try and be able to sell high ticket stuff where possible. So even if you are creating a SaaS, is there a way that you can go to like a group and sell a one-time lifetime access to this for like 2K, 5K, something like that? Because if you can do that, great. You've proven the concept, you've got some cash up front, and it means that you can use that cash to reinvest to grow the business. So if that is the route that she wants to go down, there's just something that I would be considering as well. Like, is there a way that we can make this high ticket to get some cash in the door immediately and prove the concept?
We wanted to get 200 users on the app by the end of the year.
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen. I'd like it to happen. I don't know if it is gonna happen or not. Optimistic me is like, yeah. Realistic me is like, maybe.
Okay. So you started off by saying it's not going to happen, then you said realistic, maybe. So okay. So what is realistic? You saying that maybe makes this seem impossible or not likely? Should I say?
The UI isn't refined, and I've hit like a major snag in the development.
Okay, so Ange just said that she needs to push back launch because she's found a little trouble in the development side of things. This is so common with entrepreneurs in like tech-based businesses. The amount of times that I've actually had to like, even with my coaching and the things that I do with entrepreneurs one-to-one, the amount of times I've seen people say like, oh, actually it's going to be a little bit longer, it's going to take a little bit more time. It's really common for this to come up. So what you need to like really get clear on as a founder is like, what is the core functionality, right? And Ange, so all credit to her, might have already done this. This is more so if you're trying to build a SaaS product or technical product, you need to know exactly what the core functionality is. You need to know what the transformation is, right? And this is what people get wrong a lot of the time. They try to base their product off what they would like it to look like. oh, it'd be really cool if you had this thing. It'd be really cool if you had. None of that matters when you're starting out. Okay, what matters is that you have basic functionality and you can prove that your product is going to have a transformation in someone's life. For example, if it's like, let's say it's a fitness app, right? If you can prove that someone using your app has resulted in a change, great. You don't need all the bells and whistles. You don't need all the fancy UI and designs, all this kind of stuff, right? You just need to prove that it had a transformation as the base level. Okay, once you've proven that, then you need to prove the next thing, then you need to prove the next thing. But you build on like proving things rather than I want it to look like this. The amount of times I've had conversations with founders that have spent hundreds of thousands to build apps. Hundreds of thousands to try and build an app that they've then had to go and scrap because it was too much focused on like what they thought they wanted rather than what the customer actually wanted. Like, it's really not worth it. My first business was also a tech app, right? We got 10K funding, we built an app, we wasted all the money, and then we realized that we didn't have a clue what we were doing because we were too far away from the customer and the actual transformation that this was meant to give, right? So for Anchia, one of the things that I would say is like, if you're in the development stage, great. Like, if you haven't already like really clearly and like systematically outlined the core functionality that is required to make a transformation, like, you need to get those features outlined and you need to be able to say like what's absolutely essential and what's nice to have and be ruthless with that list.
We've got a problem there. We found a solution to it, or potential solution to it.
Mm-hmm.
And this solution may just be finding someone who can fix it, because I think you said you can't seem to find what the problem is yourself, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so it's actually finding someone who can just fix it.
Which would be ideal.
Yeah.
It would be great, yeah.
Okay. So with that being said, and let's assume the best here, does that stop you from getting 200 users by the end of the year?
No.
Okay.
No, it shouldn't be.
Good. Good. Something.
I could launch it with the 15 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah. Assuming you can't that 15 minutes thing fixed, you could actually launch it by the end of this month.
Yeah.
Okay, we've just saved 3 months. All right. Fantastic.
I love this stuff, right? This is a great piece of work that Adnan just did there. I'm just come to him saying like, look, there's this issue. It might spend a day fixing it. It might spend a month fixing it. We don't actually know how long it's going to take. And Adnan's like, well, is it actually even an issue, right? This is like Elon Musk, controversial character. I get it, right? He's got this 5-step process for fixing things. And the first thing is question the requirements, right? Most people have got dumb requirements. Most people impose requirements that don't need to be there, okay? And this is exactly what Andra's done in this situation. She's kind of put it on herself of like, oh, the product needs to have an hour. But based on what? Like, it needs to have an hour of time because you think it does, because that's what you've experienced, because that's maybe what a couple customers have said. We don't know, right? Like, we don't actually know what the product needs, especially before like being able to validate it properly. So until you've seen people interact with it, until you've actually seen this kind of stuff, it seems like, oh, this is a big roadblock, but it might not be, right? And this simple reframe, like, I'm just smiling, she's excited, she's like, oh yeah, actually, like, I never even thought about this until this point. So a lot of the time, when people are finding issues within their product, and they're like, oh, this isn't going to be good enough, I'm not sure how to do this, the question that I'd ask them is like, okay, but why do you even need to do it in the first place? Like, question the requirements that you've set out for yourself. Is there other workarounds about these requirements? Is this negative actually something that we could turn into something positive? And that simple reframe has just helped Anja. Like, it might have saved her a month's worth of work that she would have been stressing out. She might have even given up on the product, like, oh, I can't do this. It's got this limited functionality. It's like, well, we can still continue on doing what we need to do. So this is really, really positive here.
Extra month helps a lot.
Yes, absolutely. 3 extra months of marketing, and actual post-launch development as well, because there's going to be users who come on and then you have other problems to fix.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
So that is probably better to not extend the deadline too much and bring it a little bit forward. Does finishing it by the end of this month and launching it scare you?
No, I'm not scared. I'm intrigued to see what I've done wrong.
Okay, that's good, isn't it? Because once you get users on, you're going to find out, oh, I did this wrong, I did that wrong.
Yeah.
And maybe the first 10, 20 users reveal like 80% of the issues.
Hopefully, that would be ideal. Yeah.
Yeah, and then who knows, just by the first month of Q2, end of April, you've fixed most of the bugs and now you can start marketing it properly.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's given me like what, most of the year?
yeah, you got May until the end of the year to get 200 users. Maybe even the end of year goal changes because you probably can maybe hit 200 users earlier.
But would they pay £20 a month?
So Adnan is absolutely cooking here. He's literally just went through and he's just said, look, you were thinking about launching by the end of Q2, whereas realistically you can launch by the end of Q1. And we can then spend those 3 months to like fix any issues. We can start testing our marketing out properly, and we can actually start to grow the business and give you literally like so much more time to hit your goal of getting 200 users on a month. And immediately as he said that, Ansh has then just thrown in a new problem like, yeah, but will people pay £20 a month? It's like, people are so negatively like wired. It's very normal. It's just human nature, right? Like there's nothing against Ange. People are so negatively wired that immediately, as soon, I used to say this to my sister, right? And she'll probably kill me for saying this, right? But I used to say, for every solution I give you, you've got a new problem. Right? For every solution I used to give her, she used to come to me with like all these different things, like, oh, there's this going on, there's that going on. I'd hit her with a solution. I'd say, do this, and then every time I would, she'd hit me with another problem. And it was like, that's just the way that we're naturally wired. But as entrepreneurs, we need to be more optimistic. We need to have faith that what we're doing is actually going to work. So with Ange at the moment, like what she's just said there is like, will people pay £20 a month? It's like, well, you're gonna have to address that in another 3 months anyways. Now you're gonna address that 3 months earlier. Like, that's probably why it's now more of a concern for her. But the truth is, like, you just need to like realize that each time there's something that you're not sure about, this is a new hypothesis that we need to test. We're gonna run an experiment. We're gonna see what happens. We're gonna collect feedback, and then we're gonna iterate and do something better, maybe, right? And if it works, great. We'll just continue with it. Okay. So this is really, really normal the way that I'm just thinking about things. But it's something to be aware of. Like, it's really easy to get into the negative mindset of like, will people do this? Will this work out? Will it not? But it's important to be able to stay grounded as an entrepreneur and think, okay, well, let's just address one problem at a time. Yeah. Because Ange, like from my experience, from speaking to her, she's like very level-headed. She's very cool, calm, and collected. Whereas there's a lot of people that literally like that thought process of what about this and what about that and what about that, it literally cripples their business because there's so many negative thoughts one after the other impeding their brain, and as a result it literally becomes so hard for them to actually like stick with anything because immediately like, I need to switch, or what about this thing, I need to change this thing up. It's like, no, just stick to the plan, right? And this is exactly what we're building out. We're building out a really clear plan and roadmap for Ange, which is exactly what she needs to be able to stick with it, right? So very interesting, not too much to add there, but like valuable nonetheless.
Okay.
Q2, fixed bugs, gathered feedback, and validated the idea, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to find out what price people would be willing to pay.
I want to address one of the questions that Anna's just asked because it was an important question, but I don't think it got the time that it deserves. So she asked, I want to know how much people would be willing to pay. Great question. Okay. Now, the truth is, it literally depends on what your offer is and how you present the offer and who you sell it to. There's quite a lot of different factors. Because if I say I've got a wellness app, right? Someone might say £0. Someone else might say £100. Who knows, right? Okay, and you might say, like, let's say it's £20 a month because that's what she wants to sell it at. Okay, this is a wellness app that's going to take you through some guided meditations, and that's it, once a month, right? Like, you just pay £20 every month, and you get these guided meditations, and that's how much it's going to be. And they might think, okay, perfect. That's all right for £20 a month. However, if you turn around and say, look, what we're going to do now is that it's going to be the guided meditations that you get access to through AI. You also have a dedicated support person that is going to review like your blah blah blah, like your meditations and the things that you talk about, the things that you want to reflect on, or the goals that you have, and give you personalized plans on how you can, do all these other things. You add another layer on top of that. We're going to give you an accountability coach to make sure that you do at least X number of meditations a day. On top of that, we're going to give you these discounts and bonus features to all these different partners so you can get their stuff for free or for cheaper. And on top of that, you're going to be part of a community of other people that are trying to work on the same goal that you are. And it's like, okay, that just turned from a £20 a month thing to maybe £100 a month thing. And it's just because you changed the offer. And you can take that same thing and now you can say it's exclusive to entrepreneurs that are doing 7 figures a month. And now you've just turned it from a £100 a month thing to a £3,000 a month thing. potentially, right? Who knows, right? But you can massively increase the price point based on the offer that you actually presented to. And then if you go deeper into the ICP, the reason why you could charge £3,000 a month for something like this is, let's say I'm a busy CEO that's like really burnt out and overwhelmed and just like sick of my life, and it's causing me to lose £100,000 of deals every single month. I'm making bad decisions. I'm not present with my family. My health is going down the drain. And this solves those problems. Originally, it was costing me like whatever, thousands in medical bills, thousands in deals, and you're offering me for a fraction of the price to solve these issues using this app or service. I'm like, great, I'll pay that because I know it's a good investment. So the thing is, like, most people firstly don't know how to pitch their solution as an investment, right? Like, that's what everything is that comes to, like, especially when you're selling B2B or even B2C, most things are like, this is an investment. So it's like, how do you frame it as an investment? Secondly, people don't think about like who they're selling to, the state of mind they're selling into, the kind of costs that they have. When we sell to people in business, right, it's so easy for us to sell our services all the time. This is why we've got 40% close rate. It's because people can see exactly, I don't have good routines, I don't have good systems, I keep procrastinating these things. So it's like, okay, well then this is what we need to do to fix it. And it's going to cost you a fraction of what it's costing you to do nothing about it. So are you willing to pay this price instead of the price that you're currently paying? You're like, yes, great. Like, it's not hard, okay? So this, well, it's not hard. It actually just takes a lot of time, right, to figure out exactly what to say. So this is the same thing with Ange. She needs to figure out exactly what language she should use to make it seem, or to give the users the right impression of exactly what problems this is solving, exactly why this is worthwhile. Okay? So something to consider here for Ange. Like, if you want to know how much people are willing to pay, you have to test a bunch of different offers. You have to test them across a bunch of different ICPs. Just saying I want to see what people will pay is such a broad and varied question. If you test people in the UK, that's going to be different to America. That's going to be different to India. Like, you've got to be really, really specific when it comes to testing these things out. Treat it like a science experiment. You're creating hypotheses, and you want to be able to like really clearly define exactly what validation looks like. We actually did a video on validation, on how you should validate different business ideas. If you want to understand how you can validate yours, then make sure you go check that out. It's actually a talk that we delivered to Loughborough University students. University called us in to deliver some like different ways that people could validate their ideas. And it basically just talks through all the main things that you need to do when it comes to validation. So make sure you check that out if you haven't validated your business just yet. Okay, back to the video.
You want it to be launched, man?
I want the MVP to be ready. I'm not really sure, to be honest, because I've got an MVP apart from that one snag that I'm hitting. I don't know how long it's going to take to fix that. If that's like a month's job, then that kind of pushes things. But ideally, end of Q2, launch the MVP, like a very basic version of the app. And validation would be great as well.
So one of the things I noticed here that hasn't been mentioned, it'd be interesting to know like where Ange's mind is with this, but she hasn't mentioned anything about a lead magnet. And often when you don't have a lead magnet, it's so difficult to push people to buy your product or service. Because, for example, if I am running coaching and I say to someone, hey, like, do you want to buy my coaching? It's like, they've got no idea what the coaching's like. They've got no idea if we're going to work well together. They've got no idea if I'm going to be really good for their business. So there's a lot of questions that they have unanswered. And for them to put money down at that point, it's quite hard because everyone's asking for their money, right? Like, everyone's advertising, everyone's saying like, you should buy this thing, you should buy that thing. So you have to be really like clear on like, what am I getting out of this? At the moment, Ange is going to struggle to communicate what her offer is. And then she's also going to struggle to sell it because people don't actually get to experience it beforehand. And it's hard to make this a compelling offer. What I would say Ange needs to do is to make a better offer by giving away like a 7-day free trial or some sort of lead magnet that allows people to taste the product just before they use it, before they pay for it, and see like, okay, is this actually something that I want? Yeah. And if you can say to someone like, hey, do you want to start a free 7-day trial for this thing? And they're like, yeah, okay, sure, I'll try that. Like, it's so much easier to sell that than, hey, do you want to pay £20 for this thing that you've never tried before and don't know if it's going to work well for you? Like, so I'd really, really like encourage Ange to get on this like 7-day free trial route, or at least like some sort of taster version or like a free with ads version of her product or service, so that like it's easier for people to engage with what she does. Yeah. And in terms of like offering to people, one of the big reasons why people are so worried about doing outreach to people that they know and friends and family is because they're worried like, oh my God, I'm asking them to buy this thing and I don't want to ask them to buy this thing. It's like, why don't you just do the free thing? And if you want to buy, then you can buy and you can make that decision later. But I'm just going to ask you to do something for free. So I'm just asking you for your time. And if you think it's worth your money, then you can pay me the money later. But for now, it's just your time. Yeah. So it's a much easier sell and there's a lot less to be worried about. And then when people do want to buy, if they do want to buy, it's a much more informed decision. So you can have a lot less people calling you up saying like, hey, I actually changed my mind. I don't want this thing. Or I don't like it. Can I have my money back? It's like, no, you made the decision to buy. So lead magnet's really, really important for any business to scale. 7-day free trial is a really simple one for something like this.
What are the key metrics that will allow you to define whether you will achieve these goals here?
Well, the key metrics that are they not just the key metrics themselves?
Well, you could say that you want to actually say, I want to measure signups, right? But what comes before signups as an input that maybe you can control?
Marketing.
Okay, so you'd be maybe messaging people, right?
Yeah, messaging people, speaking to people, potentially putting out like flyers if people still do that. I don't know.
Okay, so I think people do that, but I think a clear one that you've just mentioned there is outreach messages.
Mm-hmm.
So here there was 3 key success currencies, and success currencies are things that are important for us to know. Like, if we can improve these numbers, it means that your business is making progress. So the success currencies that we outlined for Ange was that we need to know how many outreach messages you're doing. We need to know how many posts you're doing on Instagram. We need to know how many signups you're getting. Okay, if you're not doing any outreach messages and you're not getting any Instagram posts, you're not getting any signups, there's a problem with the business and we need to fix something. So this gives us a really clear indication of like what's actually going on in the business. What are the bottlenecks? What are the constraints that Andrea is going to be facing at the moment? So if she does like 1,000 outreach messages over the next month, and then also does like 20 Instagram posts and gets 30 signups, she'd probably be really happy with that. Okay, might be even more than 30, might be 100 signups. Who knows, right? But if you can do that and get those signups, perfect, right? But if we see that she's got 0 signups, and then we look at Instagram posts and realize that there's no Instagram posts and outreach messages has been 6. You're probably going to be like, right, well, we know what the problem is, okay? And it's so in your face, it's so obvious, there's no hiding from it. There's no like, oh, well, there's this thing and there's that thing. It's like, no, you're just not doing the outreach, yeah? Like, it's just as clear as day. So it's basic, but it's just important to sometimes just reframe and get that right. Like, you need to know exactly what the key success currencies are for you to grow your business. For us, it's, at the moment, we change them every so often. It's literally leads generated, discovery calls booked, sales calls booked, right? Our lifetime retention, our average package, like they're numbers that we're happy with. So we're just focused on the marketing side of like how many leads have we generated, how many discovery calls have we booked, how many sales calls have we booked, right? Our close rate's fine as well, so we're not even tracking that anymore because it's been so strong for the last 7 months, okay? So it's just these 3 metrics that we're like, okay, well, we need to influence these ones, yeah? So this is the same for Ange, just being like really, really diligent with it. Instead of tracking this monthly, I would probably say track it weekly, right? If you want to be really diligent, track it daily. If you want to be super, super diligent, track it twice a day, okay? Like, the more regularly you track something, the more front of mind it's going to be, the more you're going to want to try and influence it. So it's just a scientifically proven method for you to grow, like any metric, because subconsciously you're more aware of it, you'll align your actions more to it. So yeah, like just get on those success currencies and make sure you're filling those out as regularly as possible, okay? So this is Ange's business. Just a reminder, she wants to go from pre-revenue to hitting £4,000 a month by the end of 2025. Here are the 5 things that we recommend Ange does. The first thing is that Ange really needs to get clear on her offer and ICP. Second thing is that she needs to shorten her timeline to launch. The third thing is that she needs to get a clear outreach script. The fourth thing is going to be starting to track her success currencies every single week, if not more regularly than that. And then the fifth thing is going to be promoting more about what she does, either through content or through outreach. So if Ange does these things, and of course has an incredible product, that's going to be paramount to being able to scale her business. If she has all these things in check, she absolutely has the capabilities to be able to hit 4K a month. Okay, so these are the basic things that we recommend like Ange does, and if she can do these consistently over a long period of time, we're confident you'll be able to see success. Okay, that's it for this episode of The Lion's Den. If you want your business to be featured in The Lion's Den, you want to get personalized advice on exactly how you can grow and scale your business with a clear roadmap on what you need to do over the next 3 to 6 months, then I recommend that you click the link in the description to apply for your slot on The Lion's Den. Thanks for watching, and if you want to check out more episodes of The Lion's Den, make sure you check out this playlist. If not, I will catch you guys on the next video.